Now at 9, the Joplin Police Department remembers 2 officers who were fatally shot in the line of duty 1 year ago today. Plus, authorities in Crawford County released new details about yesterday's manhunt for Aaron Swink. And
TikTok could be on its way out as momentum is building here in Congress for new regulations on the social media app. I'm Aisha Hasni on Capitol Hill with that story and details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. The Joplin Police Department is honoring 2 officers who were fatally shot in the line of duty 1 year ago today. The JPD hosted a memorial service for Corporal Ben Cooper and Officer Jake Reed. KOAM Shannon Becker was at the memorial and has more.
Yeah, thanks. Today, Joplin Mayor Doug Lawson began the day by saying Joplin flags should flown at half staff until the 15th of March to remember our 2 Joplin police officers. This morning was the first of 2 memorial services remembering Corporal Ben Cooper and Officer Jake Reed at the Joplin Public Safety Center. It was standing room only and the families attended this morning as officers shared heartfelt stories of the 2 and funny ones also. It was 1 year ago today both officers responded to a routine call of a disturbance at a clothing store. They encountered a male who was compliant at first, but then pulled a firearm. Both officers were gravely wounded. The man then stole a patrol vehicle, leading other officers on a high-speed chase to the area of 9th and Connecticut. As he tried to steal a minivan there, Officer Rick Hershey blocked him in and was shot in the face. Captain Will Davis arrived and witnessed what occurred. He engaged his duty weapon, stopping the man from further threat. Officer Hershey would recover from his injuries. It's now been a year, and Captain Davis tells us what transpired that day was something he wished his career would have never encountered.
It's the most heartbreaking thing that you've ever heard in your entire life. You'd hope to go an entire career without ever having to experience an officer's funeral. Losing one of your own and having to do it. 2 officers in one incident and almost a third with Officer Hershey. It's one of the most heartbreaking things you'll ever have to go through in your life. Every day there's moments where you think about Ben and Jake and Rick and everything that happened, and some days are better than others, but you just do what you can to try to honor their memory and support their families and kind of move forward.
The second service will be held on Saturday, the same location, and the mayor of Joplin will declare Officer Jake Reed Day. You can view the service on social media or our website at KOAM News Now. In Joplin, I'm Shannon Becker for KOAM News Now.
Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with the family, and thank you to all our first responders in the 4 states. Skeletal remains discovered in Delaware County last month have now been identified. They're identified as Chris Teal. The remains were found northeast of Jay, Oklahoma, on February 12th by somebody cutting wood in the area. Chris Teal was reported missing in January of 2017, and authorities were following its most recent lead given to them on February 10th. The cause of death is still unknown. We're learning new details from the Crawford County Sheriff about yesterday's hours-long search for Aaron Swink. KOAM Shagun Bondali sat down with the sheriff and has more.
After more than 10 hours searching South Pittsburgh, Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says a calling tip led to the capture of Aaron Swink. Smith says deputy and police officers were already looking for him before allegedly shooting at a vehicle, a building, and exchanged gunfire with deputies on Monday night.
Had been looking for him for some other things. He had a warrant out for his arrest, and he had been making threats of shooting law enforcement, and so we'd already been kind of looking for him regarding those issues.
Before the gunfire, the sheriff department tried to bring in Swink calmly.
We had tried to negotiate him to give himself up. During those times, he had shot at law enforcement, and there was an exchange of gunfire with the suspect. At some point in time, it was a long duration that we'd been out there, but he had gotten his car and a pursuit started.
After long hours of searching for the suspect, Aaron Swink was finally caught along this area of South 220th Street in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Residents of this area say they are glad that law enforcement did their job properly.
At the time, I wasn't too worried about it, but looking back, it is a little unnerving having someone that close. He could have easily tried to hide back behind our building or something like that and ended up having a shootout here for all we know. I think the police did a fine job. You know, I understand in that situation, you don't know exactly how he's armed, and if you're trying to find somebody, he can usually see you before you see him. So I don't want anyone getting in harm's way as long as they try and contain an area.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Shagmandele, KOAM News.
Sheriff Smith praised other local and state law enforcement agencies for helping in the search and arrest. A Jasper County, Missouri man involved in an August 2019 shooting in Joplin learns his sentence. Paul Phillips was originally charged with assault, armed criminal action, and unlawful possession of a firearm. However, he's taken a plea deal that dismisses on charge and changes another. He gets 2 10-year sentences, but they are suspended while he's on supervised probation. In August of 2019, Joplin authorities went to a home at 1214 South Connor Avenue for a disturbance call. The caller said Phillips was pointing a gun at him. When officers got there, they found the man with a gunshot wound in his arm. Phillips led police on a car chase that ended with his arrest in Galena. A Carthage man is dead after becoming pinned under his own pickup truck. It happened in a field in the area of Highway 37 and Incline Road. Investigators say 42-year-old Gary Danner was checking fences when the incident occurred. And now to weather, Chief Meteorologist Doug Ketty joins us.
Well, it definitely has turned out to be another dreary day for us today, and we had the drizzle, we had the fog outside for us right now. You can see this at 7th and Rangeline. This is what we're going to have as we go through the overnight hours. 53, 46 were the numbers today. You can see the clouds. We do have some very light showers and drizzle. The heavier rain is down to our south, and this is going to kind of extend north a little bit for us later on tonight. So we are going to see showers picking up, especially late. All right, look at the fog. Kansas, Oklahoma, not as thick on the Missouri side, but we are going to have this patchy fog out there for us tonight. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees. As we go through the morning, showers start to develop across the region. So we are going to have showers tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit cool on Friday. Rain moving back in for the weekend. I'm going to break it all down for you here in just a bit.
Emergency officials in the four-state area are preparing for the upcoming severe weather season. KOAM Yana Haldala talked with emergency management officials about their preparation and some tips they give for residents during bad weather.
As severe storm season approaches, emergency management's job is to prepare to keep residents safe.
If there's a storm coming in, we have a meeting hours prior to that to kind of prepare on which area of the county the storm's coming into, so we can advise residents approximately when it will hit.
Crawford County, Kansas Emergency Management asks residents to sign up for Nixle Alert System to receive alerts. Joplin Emergency Management Coordinator David Holden also asks residents to have a phone with any alerting system with them when inside.
There's 36 sirens that the city has, and they send out, and the sirens are actually for outdoor warning. They're not really made for people who are inside their house. That's why you should have a weather radio or have an app on your cell phone that will also let you know that there's a storm coming.
Joplin School District's community storm shelters are open for public. While Crawford County has 7 public shelters within the county, the city of Pittsburgh does not have any. USD 250 school shelters are for the students and staff during school hours only. Individuals installing tornado shelters in homes are asked to register them with your county.
Register it with our GIS office at the Crawford County website. That way we know if a tornado does happen in search and rescue process, we know there's a tornado shelter there and we can come find you.
Both officials remind to stay in an interior part of your home during tornado and leave for flooding.
People have plans, but they don't practice them. I'm not saying you have to do it every week, but every once in a while, just go over your plan.
Yana Haldala, KOAM News.
David Holden says the public is welcome to attend tornado and severe weather classes they are hosting with the National Weather Service. This will be happening next week on March 16th at 1:30 p.m. on the Training Center in Joplin. The Downtown Joplin Alliance today gave people a chance to check out upcoming projects. The group hosted the event at the newly renovated Frisco Station Lofts. One of the projects discussed was the restoration of the historic Olivia Building apartments.
Another developer in downtown that was willing to kind of take on the challenge. They partnered with the city. They shared some of the expenses of putting the roof back on the building, and they're in the process of redeveloping it for living for downtown.
We do have a time involved. We've already done significant repairs to the Olivia. We've put a new roof on her. We've completely reflamed the upper floor. We've completely cleaned her out. She's back to the studs.
Also at the event, the Alliance laid out the results of the 2022 Downtown Joplin Survey. Chinese-owned TikTok is a leading social media app in the U.S., but it won't be for long if lawmakers in Congress get their way. Fox News congressional correspondent Asaya Hasni has more from Capitol Hill.
Congress appears to be inching closer to new regulations or even an outright ban on TikTok. On Wednesday, officials telling the Senate Intelligence Committee the social media app poses a major risk to America's national security. They say it's likely being used right now by the Chinese government to spy on millions of Americans, stealing data while laying the groundwork for possible infiltration of personal computers and phones.
If you look at what the Chinese are trying to steal, that's where it is. So we need to be working more and more closely with the business community to try to build resilience.
The hearing comes a day after a bipartisan group of senators introduced legislation that would give the administration new powers to ban TikTok. The White House says it backs that legislation and it's urging both parties to get it to the president's desk as soon as possible. Republicans say there's plenty of support on their side of the aisle.
It's not about some grown man in the middle of the day putting up videos. It's probably one of the most valuable surveillance tools on the planet.
Meanwhile, China is pushing back, denying it's using TikTok to spy on the U.S. and accusing the administration of politicizing economic issues under the guise of national security.
Such a practice violates the principle of fair competition and seriously damages the international economic and trade order.
And lawmakers say they're looking at banning other potentially harmful apps from countries like Russia and North Korea. On Capitol Hill, I'm Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
Coming up, certain industries struggling to find workers.
The future might be electric, but finding your electrician might become very difficult. I'm Madison Allworth in Mahwah, New Jersey. More after this.
The latest job numbers are coming in today with the labor market hotter and tighter than expected. And there is a desperate need for skilled trade workers, from electricians and plumbers to carpenters to mechanics. And that need is growing as the economy struggles to get back on track. Fox business correspondent Madison Allworth has more from a trade school in New Jersey.
Here at Lincoln Tech in Mahwah, they are seeing enrollment skyrocket. But the reality is, with this school and any school across the nation, they cannot produce enough students to fill the gap that we are seeing in the trade industry, electricians, HVAC, auto. I want to bring in the president of this campus, Robert. Robert, what are we seeing in terms of this gap? Why is there such a need for electricians, for example?
I think the bottom line is there's more demand on electricity. With electric vehicles coming into fruition, you're going to need charging stations to charge those vehicles, and that's going to put a very strain on our grid. So we need electricians to improve the grid, but as we have electricians in the field that are currently retiring, we need younger electricians to come in and replace that void. And unfortunately, right now, we see more electricians going out of the field than coming into it.
And you see that in the numbers, 79% of companies actively hiring for electricians. You guys have people calling every day asking about your students. What do you think needs to be done so that more young people understand this is a viable career option for them?
People need to understand that they can come to Lincoln Tech and in 1 year they can complete their studies and be on a sustainable career in the electrical field.
All right, thank you so much. I want to talk to one of those students, Alan. He's working, I'm going to interrupt his work real quick. So Alan, most of your peers, Gen Z, not as interested in the trade work. It's less than 17%. Why do you want to become an electrician? Why are you doing this program?
Well, I'm doing this program because in a year, I will be out in the workforce. I will be making money. And it's pretty easy. It's pretty fast if you put the effort in here at Lincoln Tech. So that's the reason why I'm doing it.
And a lot of your peers, they're interested in going to a 4-year school. Why go the route of a 1-year program versus a 4-year education?
It's quicker, cheaper, and you get working fast,
Okay, it adds up. Thank you so much, Alan. Like I said, I'm Madison Allworth at Lincoln Tech in Mahwah. I'll send it back to you.
Elon Musk's massive layoff at Twitter have caught the eye of the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC is now investigating those layoffs and trying to get Musk's internal communication. It's part of the FTC's probe into Twitter's privacy and cybersecurity practices. Since 2011, the FTC has been overseeing the company after Twitter agreed to a consent order alleging serious security lapses in data. And Doug is back with a complete look at the forecast, and later we'll get an inside look at what it's like to be a 911 dispatcher.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a dreary day for us today. A lot of clouds. We had the rain last night, and then just kind of cloudy skies for us most of the day. And then the drizzle and the fog has kind of picked up over the past couple hours. And that's what we are going to be seeing as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Very evident Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. All right, temperatures right now, it's kind of chilly. Mid upper 40s to near 50 once you get into our southern counties. A little drizzly, a little bit fog at 7th and Range Line. You can see the roads are wet, sitting at 49 easterly winds. Very light humidity at 90%. And look at the fog, kind of thick once you get out across southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Not as bad once you get into southwestern Missouri, but we are going to have patchy fog as we go through the overnight hours tonight. We're socked in with the clouds. Underneath the clouds, you can see a few light little showers. Northern parts of Newton County, once you get into Berry County, and then kind of straddling the state line of Oklahoma and Kansas, the southern parts of Labette. Some spotty showers once you get just north of Pittsburgh, out towards Chanute. And this is what we're going to see tonight. Heavier amounts of rain down to our southern parts of Oklahoma, but this is going to flare up some additional moisture toward us as we go through the overnight hours. So mainly drizzle. Next few hours, here's 3 a.m., so this is more persistent rain. 5 a.m., 7, 9, 11, 1 p.m., then it starts to taper off. So again, tomorrow is going to be kind of dreary, and we're going to have showers out there through the morning hours. Let's step through time. Isolated showers next several hours. Here's 3:30 in the morning. As we get into the morning, a little bit more spotty showers across the entire region. Very light, not much in the way of lightning or thunder. Scattered showers continue. Here's 10:30 in the morning. Dreary, sitting into lower 50s. By 2:30 in the afternoon, most of the showers on the Missouri side. By evening, gone. So we are going to have hit and miss showers most of the day. A little bit of clearing late tomorrow night, much colder. We drop back into the mid-30s. As we go into Friday, not a bad day. It's just going to be chilly. High temps into the lower 50s. Then here we go again. Here comes our next storm system, just in time for the weekend. And this one is going to be a much bigger system. All right, rainfall for tomorrow. Very light, maybe a tenth, maybe 2/10 of an inch, but that's really just about it. So this is not going to be heavy amounts of rain. Day planner for you, rain through the morning, tapering by the evening, high temp right around 55 degrees. Let's go 53 on Friday. Thunderstorms Saturday. Rain lasts into Sunday morning, and then we get a break Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we have another storm system, fairly big one, next Thursday into Friday, which is St. Patrick's Day. So a lot to watch. Very typical for this time of the year.
Yep, for sure. And I know that our friends over in Kansas definitely need the rain because they've been in a drought for about half a year now.
At least it's getting better.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up, trying to find answers to the origin of COVID-19.
Congress is looking into the origins of COVID-19. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with what leading officials have to say coming up.
Years after COVID upended normal life and made downtowns ghost towns in cities nationwide, we still don't know exactly how it started. And today, congressional committees are exploring two competing theories that COVID came from a Chinese lab break or an infected animal. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
Where did COVID-19 come from?
It's the million-dollar question that remains a mystery 3 years later, and Congress wants answers. A House panel is investigating the origin of the coronavirus. The FBI and the Department of Energy suspect COVID-19 leaked out into the open after a Chinese lab accident. but they don't have full confidence.
The facts are, the evidence remains inconclusive.
The CDC director under former President Donald Trump backed the lab leak theory early on, but he said he was left out of debates led by Dr. Anthony Fauci, who did not attend Wednesday's hearing.
I was quite upset as the CDC director that I was excluded from those discussions.
Why would they do this?
Because I had a different point of view, and I was told they made a decision that they would keep this confidential until they came up with a single narrative.
While not all public health experts agree on how COVID started,
making claims that cannot be supported sufficiently by available data only fuels confusion and mistrust.
all witnesses said
absolutely and completely yes.
The origin of the virus matters to protect the world against a future pandemic. And in the Senate, more questions came up at an annual hearing on worldwide threats.
Will we not be able to say that we believe that the lab origin is the likeliest outcome unless somehow we can provide a smoking gun proof that that's what happened?
The director of national intelligence, Avril Haines, says the Chinese government is to blame for a lack of answers.
China has not fully cooperated, and we do think that's a key critical gap that would help us to understand what exactly happened.
According to a new poll, Americans' view of China hit a record low. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
A new study says if you're too nice, you might not value your money enough. Researchers from Columbia University found personalities can tell a lot about your saving habits. Those who are nicer tend not to save as much when it comes to them, but they're more willing when it helps provide for someone in their family. Up next, we'll tell you how you can spend the night in a pub featured on the hit Apple TV show, Ted Lasso. You won't believe it's true. For just $13, you could spend the night in the Crown and Anchor pub from the comedy series Ted Lasso. This Airbnb offering is meant to celebrate the premiere of the third season of the Apple TV hit starring Jason Sudeikis. Jason's character Ted Lasso and other coaches from his team AFC Richmond frequent the Crown and Anchor pub. Many fan favorite moments have taken place here, right around the corner from Ted's apartment in the show. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Jasper County 911 dispatch gives us a look into an operator shift dealing with calls, multitasking, and more. Plus, Freeman Health System makes donations to several area nursing schools. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a 911 operator? KOAM's Amber Jenkins takes a look at a day in the life of a Jasper County dispatcher.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
Typing, communicating.
Amber, tell me exactly what's happened.
Protocol.
Provide the instructions.
A 911 operator's mind is thinking one thing while their hands are doing another.
There is so much multitasking going on. They're using so many different programs. They're doing so many different things, and all the different things you got to be able to do at once, and to keep your composure and be able to provide.
911 operators like Brandon McClintock are the voices of reasons during the most traumatic situations. Tuesdays and Thursdays are usually the most hectic days when it comes to the number of calls. Peak time is 3 p.m.
And then during the week, traffic's a little higher, so you get those CNI driver complaints, the 911 hang-up calls, kids are in school. But during the weekend, it's got its fair share, but it's definitely probably through the week.
One of the most common calls a 911 operator receives are hang-ups, but despite receiving those hang-ups, they're always eager to help.
Obviously, you don't get every call. Sometimes we go years without having a certain nature. Years it can be without ever taking a high priority call, and then sometimes you can come in and you're that one that takes those high priority calls every shift.
Working at a 911 center can feel like a roller coaster. But with teamwork and clear goals to follow, Jasper County Dispatch thrives. And there are accolades to show.
It's powerful to them. It gives them the motivation, like I said, to kind of know that they are making that difference. They come in here, every one of them, when we go through the process with them and the hiring, they all say they want to make a difference. They want to help someone.
As a 15-year seasoned veteran, McClintock is proud to guide in future dispatch heroes.
These are some of the forms that we have you guys fill out on your first day. I want to welcome you to the team here at JASCO.
Reporting in Jasper County, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Jasper County Dispatch was recently recognized by the International Academies of Emergency Dispatch for its handling of medical calls. Some Missouri Southern students got some new wardrobe items for future careers. The university hosted its 9th annual Dress to Impress event. It's sponsored by Southern's Career Services Office and Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce's Young Professionals Network. It allows students to start or expand their professional wardrobe to prepare for the upcoming spring fair and their careers.
What students gain from Dress to Impress is not only free professional clothes, but also a mentorship opportunity, as we have a fantastic team of volunteers who help encourage and support students as they're looking through clothes to identify what type of apparel and what type of dress clothes should they find for their career.
Clothes were donated by volunteers who no longer need them. An award-winning author stopped by McDonald County High School today. Ibi Zaboy is a Haitian-American author of young adult fiction who has received national recognition for her work. She talked with students about her experiences as an author.
My books are quite popular, not just among students, but among teachers and librarians. They're not quite commercial, but my entry into getting the kids to read the book is through the teachers and librarians who share the books with them. They're taught in classrooms, in middle school, high school, and even college.
The visit included a Q&A session, a book reading, and an opportunity for students to purchase and get their book signed. Freeman Health System today made donations to several area nursing schools. Freeman Auxiliary donated $2,000 each to 8 nursing schools for a total of $16,000. Officials say past donations have been used to buy new equipment and for student scholarships.
We've got some big plans for several different items of equipment that we are needing to update in our skills lab. So we're excited to be able to update those things and prepare our students better for what they will see in the field.
The schools that received donations are Crowder College, Missouri Southern, Pitt State, NEO, Lebec Community College, Carthage Technical College, and the Franklin Technology Center, as well as Fort Scott Community College. A bit later, celebrating achievements towards equality.
The world marks International Women's Day with calls for equality. In London, I'm Alex Hogan. I'll have more on this story coming up.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a dreary one for us. Once again today, we had the rain yesterday evening, and then today mainly just cloudy skies, but we have the drizzle. We have a little bit of fog out there. That's what we're going to see as we go through the overnight hours. Kind of chilly, sitting at 49 in Joplin at this point in time. Look at the fog. A little bit thicker on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. So if you are going to be out tonight, watch out for the patchy fog as the visibilities will drop. Not quite as bad once you get into southwestern Missouri. We are socked in with the clouds. We do have the drizzle, which the drizzle is really hard to be picked up on the radar, but you can see some very light showers. So if we look, one little guy near Lamar, Joplin, Carthage, over toward Monette. We can go down through Berry County, a little guy in McDonald County. And then this shower kind of extends southern Cherokee back into Labette. Another guy out toward Independence. So very spotty light showers. And this is what we're going to see tonight. They're going to flare up a little bit more as some of this moisture vex off toward the north and to the east. But the heavier stuff is going to really stay to our south, southeastern parts of Oklahoma. Rain chances for us tonight. Again, the drizzle, very light stuff the next few hours. But once we get to 5 a.m., 7, 9, 11, 1 p.m., those are going to be our highest chances for spotty showers. And then they will start to trail off as we get into tomorrow afternoon. All right, let's go through time. Spotty showers tonight, drizzle and fog. Be careful if you're going to be on the roadways. Let's stop at 7:30 in the morning. Scattered showers across the region. Really not much in the way of lightning or thunder, just kind of scattered showers. Here's 10:30 in the morning. Showers continue. Most of this on the Missouri side once we get into the early afternoon, and then by evening, these are gone. But still, temperatures struggling to warm up for us tomorrow. We clear out a little bit tomorrow night. Temperatures dip into the mid-30s for overnight lows. Friday, not a bad day. It's just going to be kind of cool. High temps mainly into lower 50s during the afternoon. And then here we go again. Here comes our next storm system moving in by the time we head into the weekend. All right, first off, rainfall amounts with wave number 1, which is going to be the drizzle tonight and the spotty showers for us tomorrow. Very light, maybe 1/10 of an inch. Nothing too extreme by any means. Day planner, rain lasting into the early afternoon, clouds into the afternoon. Let's look at your weekend. Here comes that next system. Showers start to pop up. So we get a band of showers Saturday morning, and then once we get Saturday evening and Saturday night, we're going to get a band of showers and thunderstorms. I think any severe weather will stay to our south, but this rain will be a little bit more widespread as we head into the weekend. All right, showers tomorrow, 55, 53 on Friday. Thunderstorms scattered Saturday, showers into Sunday morning, but Sunday overall, a pretty good day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, good. Thunderstorms again next Thursday that can mix with some snow by St. Patrick's Day. So we're not quite done with winter just yet.
Yeah, we've been absolutely spoiled recently, so I guess it's only right for us to get back on track.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up, the war in Ukraine is heating up.
The battle for the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut intensifies. I'm Steve Harrigan in Kyiv. That story ahead.
The fate of the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut is still up in the air. Russian forces claim they've made gains in taking the city. Ukrainian troops, however, are still trying to gain ground. Fox News chief international correspondent Steve Harrigan has the story.
No signs of retreat from Ukrainian forces in the city they've dubbed Fortress Bakhmut, even as Russia's Wagner group claims to have full control of nearly half the city. Earlier this week, Ukraine's president vowed not to retreat or surrender. While U.S. intelligence claims the city has no real strategic value and its fall will have no real impact on the war, Bakhmut has become a symbol in Ukraine of the country's resistance to Russia's invasion. On Wednesday, amidst news Ukraine was losing ground, a general handed out medals to soldiers honoring their service.
This award is for bravery, courage, and heroism.
The city itself is completely destroyed after more than 6 months of heavy fighting. But Russia says it needs to be conquered in order to push further into Ukraine's eastern front.
Taking it under control will allow further offensive actions deep into the defense of the Ukrainian armed forces.
Meanwhile, in Kyiv, Ukrainian President Zelensky met with the UN Secretary General, the two discussing the Black Sea grain export deal, which is up for renewal. It allows Ukraine to export grain from its Black Sea ports and also allows Russia to export food and fertilizer.
Exports of Ukrainian as well as Russian food and fertilizer are essential to global food security and food prices.
If Russia and Ukraine agree, the deal will be renewed later this month. In Kyiv, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
We're back with more after this. Millions of people gathered in cities across the globe today for International Women's Day. Protesters took the streets demanding equality and higher wages. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more.
People around the world gathering to mark International Women's Day on Wednesday. At the White House, First Lady Jill Biden honored those making a difference in nearly a dozen different countries with the International Women of Courage Award.
We're here to tell girls everywhere the truth that they need to hear. Yes, you matter. Yes, you can make a difference.
South Korea saw hundreds take to the streets calling for an end to gender discrimination. While in Spain, people marched against a law that's led to reduced sentences for men convicted of sexual abuse. And in the Philippines, protesters clashed with authorities in front of the presidential palace demanding higher wages and better jobs.
Calling and asserting our right and our freedom of association and the right to organize in order to fight for our demands.
This year's International Women's Day also had a heightened focus on areas suffering from conflict, including Afghanistan, where the Taliban banned girls from attending higher education.
Women here cannot practice their rights and celebrate because we cannot go to school.
While in Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked women for their contributions to his country's fight against Russia.
To all the women who work, teach, study, heal, and fight for Ukraine, together we are free, and together we will definitely win.
More than a dozen countries recognize International Women's Day as an official holiday. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Coming up, how a biohybrid robot trained for bugs could be used to provide health checks for people in the future. In the not so distant future, security and health checks could be getting a high-tech makeover. Fox News correspondent Mary Rafferty takes a look at a biohybrid robot trained by bugs and how scientists hope to use it to keep us safe.
Robots aren't living things, but it's not stopping scientists from trying to make them come alive. Well, sort of. This is a biohybrid robot, and with the help of insects, researchers in Israel are training it to develop a sense of smell.
We combine the biological world with the electronic world.
Locusts are large bugs with fine-tuned antennae, long sensors on top of their heads used to identify and locate a variety of objects. Now lab technicians are taking pieces of those antennae and using electric signals to program the bot to respond to specific scents.
I place an antenna between two electrodes. The electrodes record the neural activity from the neurons inside the antenna as a response to smell. I have smell over here and my robot here. I ran the code that activates the robot, and now I'm going to apply the smell.
According to researchers, the locust antenna makes the robot's ability to smell more sensitive than some other electronic sniffing devices. In the future, the team says their bots can be used in place of dogs to strengthen security checks, as well as help a variety of other industries.
For example, to identify explosives, to identify rotten food, to identify drugs, a cosmetic company that you want to be able to see if it's a good perfume or bad perfume.
Meanwhile, just like dogs, previous research has shown locusts can be trained to detect various cancers. With the use of locust antenna, scientists hope their robot will be able to do the same. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of animals at a zoo in England enjoying some snowfall. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.